Hello everybody, welcome to day 4 of this wonderful devotional on the book of John. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about John chapter 4, where Jesus encounters the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, and then he has an interesting discussion with his disciples following the encounter with the Samaritan woman. And then right at the end of chapter 4 of John, he actually has an encounter with a nobleman as he moves on to Galilee. My name is Stefan, by the way, and I'm coming at you live from level 4 lockdown here in South Africa. So we see Jesus have this encounter with this woman at the well, and we know from historically that Samaritans and Jews didn't mix, and men and women didn't mix unless the lady was your wife. Men didn't speak to women, women didn't speak to men. And we also know that this lady had a bit of a history. She was an outcast, otherwise she would have come at the normal time when women came to the well. Be that as it may, that is the context. Jesus had an encounter with her. He revealed himself to her and also revealed some of the woman to herself as well. And her reaction was as forth. When she went to town and told everyone about her encounter, she said this about Jesus: "Come and meet a man who told me everything I have ever done." Imagine that. Jesus knows everything that we have ever done in our lives. And he chooses not to hold that against us in relationship, which is an incredible revelation. Friends, we need to have that revelation that Jesus is not holding our past against us, that he makes us righteous. No matter how many husbands or wives or mistakes or anything we have had, Jesus will still love us. He will cross that boundary. He will cross the cultural boundary. He will cross the guilt boundary. He will cross the gender boundary, anything he needs to get into relationship with you and to show you that you are made righteous through what he did on the cross. Then what happens? Jesus' disciples come to him and they see this encounter with the woman, and the woman leaves and they say, "Jesus, are you hungry?" And Jesus says, "I'm not hungry. In fact, I feed on doing the will of the Father." And don't say that the will of the Father is tomorrow or the next day or in a few months' time. But the harvest is ripe, he's telling his disciples. And he goes on to say that some sow and some reap. Some labor, but some reap of that labor. And I don't think it's an accident that this has happened in this progression, that Jesus has told the woman at the well that I've declared you righteous, even though I know what you have done. I want a relationship with you. And then he says, the harvest is ready. You don't have to have done all the labor to partake in the harvest. You don't have to have done the hard work. I've done a lot of the hard work for you. People that have come before you have done the hard work for you. And God is really calling us to enter into his grace, into his rest. And he's calling us to be intentional about people around us as well. And say, listen, you might not know people's history. You might not know their intentions. I do. But I'm calling you to share my love with them. And then finally, Jesus has an encounter with a nobleman or a governor. And he asks the question when the nobleman comes to him and says, "My son is sick, can you heal him?" And he says to the nobleman, does everyone need a sign? Does everyone need a wonder in order to believe? And then he said, "Go, for your son is healed." Jesus asked this question, but he did not judge him. He healed his son nonetheless. And this is a lesson for us, or speaks into some of our lives, to say that Jesus will give you what you need in your situation. Whether it's finance, whether it's a sign or a wonder or healing or some sort of miracle, Jesus will give us what we need in the time that we desperately need it. So number one, no matter what your past, Jesus qualifies you. Number two, your calling is not tomorrow sometime, it's today. He's calling you to be part of that today. He has qualified you. And number three, he will give you what you need in your time of need. I pray that you've been blessed by John chapter 4. Enjoy the rest of the devotional series.